time to talk about luxury cruising. From suites so sweet to ships elite. Come explore the world in style with me on Luxury Cruising, the podcast.
Hey, it's Crystal here. Before we get started, did you know that there is a way for you to directly support the podcast? Head over to my website, luxurycruising.net, and you can buy me a latte, a glass of champagne, or even a whole bottle of champagne if you want. Leave me a note, and I'll be sure to give you a shout out on the next episode. That's luxurycruising.net. You can also leave me a note or ask a question. Okay, let's get on with the show.
Welcome back to Luxury Cruising. I'm your host, Crystal Sodaitis, and I'm so excited to have Mo here on the podcast this week. She is going to be talking about her trip around Ireland on the Azamara Quest. So, Mo, please tell the audience anything you want them to know about you.
Hi. Well, I am very new into the luxury cruising line, so I had an amazing first experience that I'm so excited to tell you about. A little about me. I went with my parents, and so they had a room and I had a separate room. So a lot of my experiences, I think, were similar to people probably not in my 30-something demographic, but I think that made the entire cruising experience better for me. I had a great time getting to know everybody and just all different walks of life. So I'm so excited to talk about it.
Awesome. I'm so excited. So, what made you decide on this trip, this ship, the itinerary? What was it?
So what a great question. My family and I have been cruising, I would say, for years. We hadn't been in probably a decade. And we were used to the Carnivals, the Princess, and the Royal Caribbeans. We still love them, amazing. But this one was brought to us by a friend of my mom's. My mom really wanted to go to Ireland and really see all of it. We had been to Dublin prior, and we just really didn't get to see as much of the country as we wanted to. And we found this cruise that was 10 days. Where you start in Dublin, you go north and all the way around, and you end back in Dublin. And so we thought, let's see what we can do. It's in a time that weather is beautiful, July, summertime. And then I have time off. It just worked out well for my parents and I to do this. And honestly, I just got very lucky that my sister has 2 young kids and we are their caretakers. So no kids were on this, just us.
I love that you picked this cruise almost exclusively because of the itinerary.
Yes.
And I remember when you told me about it, you had no idea.
No. And I can tell you, I'm immediately converted immediately.
So what were your first impressions getting on the ship?
Okay. So first impressions, one, I would say truly like the friendliness of the staff right away. Not that other cruise lines don't have great staff and friendly people, but this, because the ship was so small, and everybody just kind of knew everybody, so I would walk through and I would see the captain. I would see all kinds of people that they start to know you and build a rapport with you. So it feels less like, you're on a ship with a bunch of strangers and more like, oh, there's our friend from trivia. There's our friend from dinner. There's all of this. And the genuine kindness of every single staff member that was there. We talked, I'm a chatter, so I like to get life stories and just the things that these people were telling me. They're such hard workers. And, it was just first and foremost, the staff and the friendliness. Just cannot recommend anything better. And they all love their job so much that they get excited to stay on and do another cruise. And so they even have their itinerary about a year out. So without spoiling anything, we are doing another one. And they were already able to tell us like who of some of the staff that we befriended are going to be on the ship with us in a year. So that just also is really cool because when you're going to new places. For my parents, I can tell you, having a few familiar faces is just so good for them. I think I can adapt pretty well to different surroundings, different cities, and find my way. But to have them feel like they have like a little bit of home, a little bit of comfort
Yeah.
was wonderful. And then the ship in itself it's not as big as, the carnivals and the royals that I have been on, but everything was laid out so beautifully and easily that it wasn't hard to get from one end to another. When I was first still learning the cruise, they have everything, all food basically on one level.
Mhm.
The dinner, the dining hall, and then like their nicer restaurants, which I'll talk about those too.
Yeah.
But we kind of had everything. They made it easy to learn. Floor 9 is the food. Floor 10 has the pool. And like on one end of the ship, there's trivia and games and karaoke. On the other end, it's more quiet, more subdued. So if you want to have more of like a quiet experience, you can do that too. And I mean, it was just so wonderful to see how much detail and effort they put in to events to make us feel like we had something to do, but nothing so crazy that you
Yeah.
weren't just like, go, 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 go.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. How about the
Yeah,
decor of the ship? Was it modern
beautiful.
elegance? Like,
Yes. And so what I can tell you, I would say it was very elegant, mahogany bars, carpeted, but it was just recently redone. It's one of the more recent ones. And I will have to tell you a part two because the one that we're going on in the fall is currently just being finished up. And so we're going to be on like one of the maiden voyages of it. But the design of it was so beautiful. I would say Titanic modern. Candles, nice rich wood, but nothing dated, I would say.
Mhm.
Nothing that really stuck out that seemed weird. But it was just beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. Like a classic nautical elegance kind of vibe.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. How about your room? Tell us about your
My
room.
room was beautiful. So I did have a double room by myself. And at the very last minute, I will tell you, I was eligible for an upgrade. So
Hmm.
I was okay with having a porthole key room. That's totally fine with me. I wanted to be in the mix of it. Right. And about a week prior to our departure, I got an email because I had requested, like, hey, if anything is available, I'm sure this isn't new to everybody. It was newer to me, but you kind of say, hey, I'm willing to pay up to this amount of money
Yeah.
if there is a room available. And then, they kind of go first come, first serve.
Mhm.
And so I ended up getting mine met for what I believe was a very reasonable price.
Yeah.
And so I got to have a balcony. And so I had, I believe they call it a state room with a balcony,
Mhm.
and it had a king size bed, a little table and a couch, a beautiful deck, like truly a really good space, I would say, for being in the middle of the ship. And then I had so much storage space. So I had two big closets, one that had some built-ins in it, and one that was just a closet. And they were right across from the bathroom, which also had like 5 different shelves built
Always
in
nice.
with space, right? I very much expect the worst, hope for the best. And so I was ready to just kind of hang everything and
Yeah.
live out of that for 10 days. I truly had so much space I didn't know what to do with. And I can say the exact same thing for my parents because they had two people in the exact same size room. And they were just like, this is great because I can put my stuff in this place. You can put your
Mhm.
stuff here. So they're not like bumping into each other and there's still room to walk around. Right.
Yeah.
And so I will say now that I started there, that's where I'm probably going to have to stay. Once you get a taste of the good life, I don't know that I can go back.
The bathrooms with like no drawers and just a little shelf, like that's not going to cut it
Exactly.
anymore.
And even all over the ship, I won't even get there, but the rooms were beautiful and they had a TV there. If you thought to bring like a Roku or something, you could hook it up to the TV if you wanted. For the most part, I was too tired at night to even
Yeah.
put anything on. But what I really loved is every day on the TV, they had our cruise director and our director of events. They would do like a morning chat for like 8-10 minutes,
Yeah.
talking about the port that we were going into that day, some things to do, and then talking about the events that were happening on the ship that day as well. Like don't forget there's karaoke tonight. Don't forget there's still going to be trivia in this room. Today is a theme. Most days they did a fun theme too, just to kind of keep us on our
Yeah.
toes. But it was nice to get dressed in the morning and kind of put myself together and listen to something. But also, not that I wasn't doing my own Googling of places, of what's here, what
Yeah.
should we check out. But just to know some of these people have already been to this area, they've already experienced it and checked it out. So that's where they would definitely be like, hey, don't miss this. Make sure
Right.
you stop by here while you're in this port. It was very nice. And they also had a couple, movies and stuff like that if you
Yeah.
wanted. And you could order room service from there. And that's the part we haven't even talked about, is that like
The food.
everything was included. The
Yeah.
food was amazing.
Before we get to the food, I just want
Yeah.
to point out something that you said that is often like a misconception, or maybe not, of smaller cruise lines and luxury cruise lines, is that there was entertainment at night.
Oh my gosh, yes. Every single night there was always something. So they would have kind of like an earlier entertainment. There was a 30 minutes of trivia and then a 30 minutes of like a name that song kind of fun
Mhm.
game.
Yeah.
And then later in the evening, there was always several options. There was a show there. We had a very talented crew where they would be singing or dancing, performing of some sort. Or, like I said, you could go to the other end, and that one was more like a live band that you could sit and chat. You
Yeah.
could dance, you could do something, or you could just kind of people watch. And then there were about 3 nights in the 10 days that they really did try to do something that was like for the whole ship.
Yeah.
So one night they do this amazing evening, and it's white night,
Mm.
and the whole crew really gets into it, and they do it the third to last night kind of, so we can all talk to all the people that we have made friends with
Right. Right.
this
Now
entire
you're at a
trip.
party with all of your friends instead of just sort of like one
Exactly.
of those weird get to know you, cocktail things.
Exactly. And again, the entire staff, they're all circulating. So we're talking from the entire time. They're just all around, and they're so friendly and so nice that honestly, I felt like I was leaving summer camp at the end. Like, I made such
That's
good
amazing.
friends with some of these people.
And I love that the officers are also available. Like you said, the captain, like they have
Yes.
such interesting lives and such interesting jobs, and they've seen so much. I love talking to the officers.
Yes. And they would also go to these events, So one night they did karaoke, and I think that was such a huge hit. They ended up doing it a second time because
Mhm.
so many people on the ship
Yeah.
came to watch. And I have to tell you, in a world where we're not always finding kindness everywhere, the amount of people that would sing and perform and just have fun, and how many people were just so encouraging of like, oh
Mhm.
my gosh, I saw you singing. That was so fun. That was so great. None of us are trying to be America's,
Yeah.
next idol, but it was just a very beautiful experience
Yeah.
to see everybody just kind of like, it was so cool. Or I love how you kept going up there. You did like 3 songs. So fun. And then we'd pass each other on the ship
Yeah.
later on and be like, I know you, I saw you, all kinds of stuff. So the
I love
entertainment I
that.
thought was great. And then they also had little things. It was a singles event like every evening, so like 30 minutes. And it didn't have to be a single in a relationship, but just if you were traveling by yourself and
Mhm.
you just wanted to make friends, they would make sure there was always 30 minutes dedicated to that. And then they did something which, again, I haven't seen, but they did like a queer meetup. So if you were on the trip
Yeah.
and you wanted, more friends like that, but I just thought it was, again, making things very inclusive in a space and in a
Yeah.
world where I don't know that we generally get to see that very clearly. And so I feel like they made sure everybody had something that they could do for a little bit each day.
Right. Right. And that's important for people who maybe feel a little isolated or worried about that there will be other people that are like them or allies
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
they know, like, oh, I can go here. Right. I've seen that before
Yeah.
too on other cruise ships. And also, um, there's something called like Friends of David. I can't remember what it's called, but
No, yep,
something
that's
about
exactly. Yep,
Friends of
yep. They
Bill,
had that too.
like
Hmm.
Friends of
Hmm.
Bill. So I think
Yep.
that those kinds of things are really important.
Yeah. And so again, the atmosphere that they created, the environment was beautiful. And yeah, I would say every day, for the most part, my mom and I, we would get back on the ship or something, and we would go to trivia, and we would go to the lounge that they were having it in. And we've made friends with the bartenders at this point.
Mhm.
where we come in, they would give us a glass of wine for me, a glass of wine for my mom, and a club soda for my dad, like within
Yep.
moments of us walking in. And then we would sit and we would do trivia and they would have snacks, kind of like a little
Wow.
happy hour style.
Love it.
And we would sit there for an hour and play games and just have fun and, make friends with other people that were sitting there. So yeah, I think the entertainment there was actually phenomenal for a ship that we really had to stop every single day. And so for them to assume that most people are going to be on land or checking something out at port to be able to also have things that, some days my mom wasn't up for walking. So she would stay on the ship and she felt that she was still getting an appropriate vacation, even though
Mm-hmm.
she wasn't able to be on port that day or something.
Yeah, because I'm sure they still had some activities, whether it was a craft or a talk or trivia for the people who did
Mhm.
choose to stay on board.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and every day there was mahjong. There was a
Oh, wow.
mahjong meetup, which I am a new fan of mahjong. My sister's neighbor did a party in January and kind of taught us all how to
Yeah,
play it. So I was like, this is amazing. This
that's
is so much
amazing.
fun.
That's
I'm not very
fantastic.
good, but to have every day that you can practice it.
The option, just to have the option
Exactly.
is
Exactly.
amazing.
And there was always somebody there, always somebody playing. So it was really cool.
That's
But yeah,
awesome. Okay, now tell us about the food. You've
the
kind of
food.
teased us a little bit that it was amazing, but give us the details.
What I want to say about the food is they had so much variety of, I would say, truly they are catering to all walks of life. So in there, every morning they had several options for breakfast. You can go upstairs and do the buffet line style. They had a little coffee shop where they had little pastries, little quiches, and then they had the restaurant that you could go and sit down in if you wanted to. And I'm telling you, I tried to get a little bit of everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
A shashuka, a full English breakfast, a yogurt, because, well, honestly, I just like to try all the food, but I knew I was coming here. So I wanted to be able to tell you all the different things.
I'm so excited. So glad.
When I say that, like, some was normal, right? Like nothing crazy, nothing exciting. So breakfast, I'll start there because I just get excited about breakfast mostly.
Absolutely. I love breakfast.
And the way that they had everything set up in the buffet was, omelet stations, what have you, pancakes, French toast, some, switch it out from day to day.
Yeah.
But the omelets that we would make there were just so good. Always fresh fruit. And then always, still a Mediterranean option as well. The cucumbers, the feta,
Mm-hmm.
everything like that. Maybe they're not into eating eggs right away. So I just thought that was such an awesome option. And then even in the dining room, their options were so nice. And their selection of breads and pastries in the morning was, there was like a chocolate croissant, like with the brick of
Yeah.
chocolate in it.
Yeah.
They had a little cinnamon roll. They had anything really. So breakfast was great. Lunch, I feel like we typically ate on land, right? So if I was there, so I'm not going to be great with the lunches. I think I only had lunch on the ship like 2 times. But also great variety. There was always some sort of rice, some sort of sushi, some sort of,
Nice.
I would say, pasta situation. You
Mm-hmm.
could make your own sandwiches, all kinds of things like that. So I would think the variety was still really there.
Yeah.
And the flavor was awesome. Like some of it was spicy, and I'm a fan of spice and flavor in my food. So just to know that I could have this like chicken biryani that they had was, oh my gosh. Every
Yeah.
single day that they had it there, I would try it.
And hot,
And then we would
spicy.
do,
So spicy chicken biryani.
yes,
Amazing.
yes. Like really spicy, which
Yeah.
again, I love because there's only so much you can add that it
Right.
gives it flavor. But I would say truly everything had a great flavor,
Mhm.
period. It didn't feel like it was mass produced, mass cooked, right?
Yeah.
We did lunch on their deck one day, and I had one of the best turkey burgers I have ever had. And like the grill, they were making it right there, fresh for you. My dad had a burger that day. And we both just kept talking about how great it was. The weather hadn't always been great during the
Yeah.
day when it was open. So we really didn't get to experience that until like the 8th or 9th day. And
Mhm.
we were so bummed because if we had known if it had been available, we absolutely would have been eating
Yeah.
there often. And then dinners, well, there was a happy hour too, sorry. So like I said, they would do these like little snacks and it was
Mhm.
somewhat different every day, but always some sort of like a biscuit and like clotted cream and
Mm.
jam.
Yeah.
And then others were a little more savory. They went both directions. Um, so some was like a prosciutto wrapped melon, some was bacon wrapped date with stuff with goat cheese. Sometimes it was pizza, and then they would also bring out some of these late night. So like at 10 o'clock,
Yeah.
they would bring some snacks out too. So while people are dancing and having fun, these options were there.
I don't know why. I'm just getting these like flashes of below deck. I don't know if
Yeah.
you, but like, you know how when they're like, it's after dinner and they're partying and they're bringing out snacks, and they're like, can we get some snacks? And the chef is like, or whoever is like going to get the snack.
Yes.
Like, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Like, you're having a party and they're like, oh, look, here are your 10 o'clock snacks.
Yes, no, literally. And we'd be so excited. We'd be like, oh, what's it going to be tonight? Is it going to be like a bruschetta? Is it going to be a pizza of some sort? What are we going to get? So it was really nice. And what I would say too is that dinners. So we did 2 dinners in the regular buffet.
Mm-hmm.
We did 1 chef dinner. And then we did 4 nights, 2 at the seafood restaurant that they had and 2 at the steakhouse that they had on board. And some of it was similar items.
Uh-huh.
Crystal, the best French onion soup I have had in a long time. And I was just in France.
Yeah.
Like the best French onion soup at both locations.
Amazing. I love French onions.
And their seafood spot had pasta and, whole fish. So somebody like
Yeah.
my dad, who is not a big fish eater,
Uh-huh.
there was always some sort of meat option for him,
Mhm.
or he could get like the pasta with or without the fish in it.
Yeah.
And so he felt like he was able to eat well, but not feel like, oh, you're at the fish restaurant, so you don't get anything else, right?
Yeah.
And then my mom, same way, she's big into the fish and not so much into the meat. And when we were at the steak restaurant, there was always some sort of option for her.
Yeah.
And truly, because we kind of started coming here and making friends with the servers and everybody there,
Yeah.
there was one night that my mom just really wanted this salmon from the seafood place, and it's right next to it.
Right. Yeah.
So they went and got it for her. Like it
Amazing.
just like she ordered her
Yeah.
meal and she ordered something, and like we didn't ask them to do it.
Yeah.
The gentleman who was serving us truly just heard she was really wanting it and went and got
Wow.
it for like the table to share and like eat. So
Yeah.
there was just service like that with the
I
food,
love
and
that.
then their desserts were so yummy. I'm such a sweet
Yeah.
tooth girl that they had this tiramisu, and then they would always give this little like, I would say a mouche bouche style, where, like
Uh-huh.
little bite
Yeah.
of dessert. So it would be a chocolate covered strawberry, a white cake with a white icing, a little strawberry cake, a chocolate, so a little something for everybody.
Yeah.
So the food was, if you can't tell, I was a big fan.
Yeah. Yeah. And was there a main dining room, or like the steak and the seafood place are kind of like co-main dining rooms?
No, so there was a main dining room, and that was where you could go in the mornings to sit down and eat breakfast if you
Mhm.
wanted. And that was great. We had a great time there. But then the steak place and the seafood place, it was Aqualina and Prime, or were the names
Mhm.
of them.
Yeah.
They were upstairs and they were together at the end of the ship.
Mm-hmm.
But those were the ones that you kind of had to sign up for. And
Right.
even that's where the chef's dinners would be if
Yeah.
you signed up for one of those. So they would just kind of put you at a higher table or something like that to make sure there
And
was
all of
space.
those were included in your cruise fare.
In ours, yes, we did purchase a package, I'll say,
Mhm.
that came with 2 nights at each restaurant.
Okay. Yeah.
But it came with it was like onboard credits to use, that we could use the onboard credit to the dinner
Yeah.
in the spa, with the merch, what have you. We will do that again for sure because it was so worth it. And I think we got to have a little bit more of a quieter experience some nights too.
Yeah.
After all day
Yeah.
in a city and a town with everybody, just to be able to kind of go quiet down. But I will say there was one night that I was just exhausted and hungry, but I was like, I'm
You just,
not in the
right.
mood
Yeah.
to do any
Get
of it. So
dressed
I
up
ordered,
and go. Yeah.
yeah. So I ordered room service. I ordered a pepperoni pizza, very childlike of
Yeah.
me. It came within 10 minutes and it was so good. So it wasn't even just like a frozen something. I
Yeah.
think they really made sure to make sure every level was good quality. I think they really thought about it.
Yeah. Love it. I love it. Let's shift to the Portugal. And did you
Yeah.
do any ship sponsored excursions?
Yes, we did 2 ship-sponsored excursions. Um, First, let's see, we went to the first one was south of Galway, and we did an excursion to Quiet Man Country. So they took us all out to the town that the Quiet Man was made, and that's a family favorite of ours, has been for decades.
Mhm.
And we really got to be in it. They made sure that this gentleman who was taking us around was so knowledgeable and like was just really like, this is the scene and this happened here. This is where we're talking about. And if you wait like 5 steps, then we're going to be able to see over here where they're walking along and we're not quite sure if it happened at this bridge or this bridge. And trust me, I've watched this movie so many times. We're trying to
Yeah.
figure it out. So I think they did a really good job of finding somebody that was knowledgeable in what the excursion was.
Mhm.
And ours, that one was about 4 hours. It was kind of like a 45-minute drive there, an hour and a half excursion, 30 minutes to do what you want, and then about 45 minutes back.
Yeah.
And then the other one we did was to the Cliffs of Moher.
Mm.
And, that one was mostly just taking us there and making
Yeah.
sure we were there and back. But the entire drive, these people were talking to us, giving us facts and just little things. Like if you look at the Irish license plate, this is what this means, and this means, and this means. So then
Mhm.
the rest of the trip, my parents and I are like, oh, I haven't seen one since before 2014. Let's see if we can find, so they were just really trying to tell us about their culture and
Mhm.
about life there because they also felt like they're so excited to share the heritage
Yeah.
with other people,
Yeah. Did you think that the excursion was in any way different from an excursion that you would get on, a larger or mainstream cruise line?
You know, I don't think so. I think the group sizing was about the same. Now, my caveat here is the demographic of most of the people on these excursions. There was always somebody who required a little extra time, a little extra something. And they were so patient and they were always ready to, hey, let's hang back for a second. Or, well,
Yeah.
how about you sit here and then I'll meet you in about 5 minutes when we come back around. So I feel like it was probably the same level
Mhm.
of that, but it was all local people. There would be somebody from the ship that tagged along with us, but they were never the one that was doing the talking in the excursion.
Yeah. Got it. Just making sure everything goes
Yeah.
smoothly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Awesome. So let's shift to the demographic because you said you're in your 30s.
Yes.
And often people in their 30s don't think about a luxury cruise. I think that there's this perception that luxury cruising is just for, old people and retirees. So what
Right.
would you say to other people in their 30s if they were thinking,
I will be honest. At very first, I was nervous because 10 days, just my parents and I, well, the 3 of us would not have made it off the ship. I needed to make sure that we were going to make friends. And I was just looking around, just, oh gosh, okay, well, I truly treat everything, go into it with a good attitude. Let's try
Mhm.
to have some fun. And right away, I sat down next to a woman who like commented on my nails. I'm like, all right, great. I've already got a friend here.
Yeah.
So I would say I would say do it because the demographic like is very deceiving. While there's several different ranges and mobilities, there were several people that were near my age
Mhm.
and others that were just so excited to talk and chat. And, oh, you live in Chicago. Oh, my son used to live there and he lives here with his wife. I just think as long as you can be as closed off and you can not talk to people and people will leave you alone if you want. So if
Mhm.
you're looking for a quieter experience,
Yeah.
do it. But if you want to be more outgoing and adventurous and chatty, they want to chat, they want to talk, and they want to have fun too. And I even had one woman who was so sweet. She was from Canada and she was traveling with her dad who had just turned 89.
Yeah. Wow.
But she would make sure, hey, if you see Mo, will you tell her that we're gonna go here tonight? Or
Uh-huh.
I don't want her to miss out on this experience too.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
it didn't have to be somebody that was my age. It was
Mhm.
still kind of universal. And there were still other families on there, with older kids that were, I want to say 40s.
Uh-huh.
So just kind of talking about, oh, what was it like for you? What about this?
Yeah.
Have you ever been on an Azamara cruise before?
Yeah.
For the most part, I've found that most people, this was their first or second cruise. And
Mhm.
then we did befriend two couples that have been on it. They had been on it for like 6 months. They get to keep their room, but this is what they do in their retirement. And they're like, this is the best way to experience the world because we feel like we still have a bit of our home, like in an
Yeah.
apartment style. And most of, like they said, the staff will stay on too. So by this time, they know the staff, they know everybody. And so they would just book out and you can go
Yeah.
like excursion or, itinerary to itinerary. They
Uh-huh.
do have to deboard for a little
Yeah.
bit, but they didn't have to, they don't have to pack up their stuff every time. They don't do
Right.
anything like that. So then they just get to stay on.
That's awesome. And you hear about that, but never on a luxury line. You hear about people who, have been living on Carnival or this like 3.5-year
Yeah.
world cruise that just failed their health inspection,
Yep. Yep.
but not on a luxury cruise. So that's awesome. That is
Well,
amazing.
no, it was so great. And I will tell you that they were the ones that also, because as we were going through the cruises, and I'm like, God, this was lovely. This was just so, well, not one thing would we have changed about it, honestly.
Yeah.
And we started talking to one of this couple, and they were like, hey, well, if you're enjoying it, make sure you book on board because they'll give you
Right.
the extra perks, right? The onboard credits, the excursion things, the what have yous. And they're like, that's the only way we do it now. We do it like 6 months in
Right.
advance. We schedule several of them. And we were like, if it's one thing to say, oh, yes, I've cruised this line before or I've done
Mhm.
this. But when you meet multiple couples who are choosing to be on a ship for 6 months at a time,
It says a
I
lot.
think that speaks way more volume than
Yeah.
I could say about the food was great. The activities were fun. I liked the
Yeah.
people. I think the fact that people are staying on. And then we also booked a second trip with them because we were like, yeah, we have to come back. We have to do this again. This
Yeah.
was everything.
So tell us about your upcoming trip. Where are you going? What is that one going to
Our
be?
upcoming trip is going to be 14 days long in the Mediterranean. It's next fall. We are starting in Greece. We have 3 stops in Greece, 1 stop in Turkey. We are then going to Cairo, to Egypt to see the pyramids. Then we
Sounds
are
nice.
going to Malta, and then
Oh,
we
always
finish
wanted to go to
out
Malta.
3 days in Italy, and we end in Rome. And I am thrilled
Cool.
because Rome is my favorite place in the
Yeah.
world. I lived there for a bit in college. So any excuse to get back there,
Yeah.
great.
How many
But when
sea
I
days?
tell you, um, 3 full at sea days.
Nice. Yeah.
It's so nice. And I was talking to my parents about this because they would love to do all of this, right? And I think I could have done this by myself, not a problem. But they just kept thinking, like, wow, this is so amazing how we're going to go see the pyramids. There's no other way that we
Mhm.
would have experienced this. They're not going to take a trip to just Egypt solo, and they're not experienced enough travelers truly to know how to go from one country to the next and make it
Mhm.
easy, especially when English is not the first language.
Yeah.
And so they're just so thrilled to go. My mom's so thrilled to go to southern Italy. She's
Mhm.
never really done that before. She's only done Rome. So I feel like the way that my parents are experiencing it in a sense of I would probably not have gotten this opportunity otherwise. And I feel safe and secure, and everything is done for me essentially, which the convenience of that is what they're looking for.
I completely agree. And I think that cruising is a really great way to see the world, period. But
Mhm.
especially for people who are uncomfortable with international travel,
Yes.
but yet
Yes.
want to experience it, this is a very safe, can be
Yes.
highly curated way to
Yes.
see the world.
Well, and can I share just briefly
Please.
this third night of our trip? Something was up with the scanner to come back on board.
Mhm.
So there were about 5 people unaccounted for. And one of them just happened to be 3 rooms down. So I heard
Mhm.
the 6 different people that came to check and make sure that this gentleman was on board. And at one point, I bless them, they were like, yes, he's here. The other 2 people checked that he's here.
Yes.
But just the fact that, I'm very aware right now, there are a couple documentaries on Netflix that I think it might be scary for people to think about going on a cruise.
Yeah.
And you are not just another body on the ship. You are very much cared for.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that's really awesome.
Yeah. I love it. So let me ask you a couple of questions that I ask
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah. Okay.
How do you define luxury?
I would say quality inconvenience.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome. And what is your dream cruise or bucket list cruise?
I think I would say there's two. The one that we're about to do, truly just the Mediterranean, seeing everything. And then I am really dying to go throughout Asia. I think that now that I'm more comfortable with this cruise, with this line,
Yeah.
um, same thing for me. I say my parents in Egypt, but me in Asia, I don't think I would do as well getting around by myself. So having, 10 days to go around various islands and experience that type of life, because that's what I'm so excited to do. I think that would be my bucket list because I've
Yeah.
been lucky and fortunate enough to do Ireland now, do the Caribbean, do all that. So now it's kind of like the what's next.
Right. Yeah. Where to? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, Mo, it's been so much fun. Thank you so much. Can't wait until next fall when
Yes.
you come back to tell us about this amazing trip. And to all
I
the
can't wait.
listeners, thank you so much for being here again. And until next time, I wish you safe and luxurious cruising.
Thank you so much for having me, Crystal.
Hey, before you go, if you're enjoying this content, I would so appreciate a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening to this podcast. If you'd like to be on the show, there's a link to a form in the show notes, or you can email me at luxurycruisingpodcast@gmail.com. That's luxurycruisingpodcast@gmail.com. I hope to hear from you soon.